That might be
It's a sandbox. It's a soapbox. It's Fanbox.
And that's right. This is Tardis Talk, episode 24. We are talking about Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel. This is the reintroduction and the redesign of the Cybermen with the 10th Doctor. And honestly, my first interaction with them, with the exception of like seeing a helmet in the Dalek episode, which I think was like episode 3. So absolutely excited about this. This is 2 episodes. Before we go any further, let's just remind you, I'm Mr. Marvelite. You can find me at Mr. Marvelite everywhere when I do stuff, because I'm kind of just doing my own thing nowadays. And then as well, you can find us on itsfanbox.com or fanboxnetwork.com, along with us and our other sister podcasts. We pretty much just try to talk about what we like. There is no rhyme or reason as to what we'll pick. Some things we'll talk about doing and then we never do it. And some things we've never talked about doing and we do immediately, like we did last night. Literally, Nico was like, hey, when are we gonna do Fantastic Four? And I said, how about Saturday? And it just kind of materialized. So yeah, and you can check out all of the other creators. They have their own profile page. Some are also going to be created on the website. So you can check out itsfanbox.com for all of that. David, tell us where we can find you.
I am Xanatos1138 on all socials. In fact, I post pretty much anything I want to now on TikTok, but it's been nerdy content, and the thing I posted literally about half an hour ago was just a compilation of the last few years with the Superman punk rock sound that's been going around TikTok. It's got a bunch of pictures from meet and greets, conventions I've been to over the years, and Tony's in one of them. So I mean, we've met in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the fun part. With the exception of Will, I have met all of the main people that do this show. Will is just on the West Coast, and whenever I've been over that way, it's only been Los Angeles, and so I've got to fix that because like you would think. My family made the comment the other day because we were talking about 3D printing and stuff like that. They go, it's probably a good thing that you don't live close to Will because we'd never see you. So and Will is not here today because he is it's his mother's birthday, so happy birthday, Mrs. Wilkins. So you never know. But hope you have a wonderful birthday as he takes her to brunch. And then of course the other guys aren't on right now. Don't know where they are, but that's okay. I know Johnny had COVID, which means our ending is going to be really. I did it. Now I don't think he watches the show. I'm pretty sure he doesn't watch the show. So we'll explain that ending later when I know that for sure. But regardless, so the Cybermen. Oh, I do want to say one more thing before we kind of talk about the episodes. If you are a Doctor Who fan, and you have probably been like this where you like to binge the show and on the regular, a mainstay here in the US has been removed from streaming, and that is from what was formerly Max and now HBO Max. They have removed the Doctor Who season, all of the seasons of the Revival Who from their streaming service. It is no longer available for streaming on any US platform. And before you think, oh, I'll just go to the BBC iPlayer, their VPN restrictions are so rigid that even if you use a VPN and market for UK, they won't accept you. So just be prepared. It is going to be harder. I do recommend use bookstores if you like physical media, which I will probably be doing that. I know for the longest time I would walk into like a McKay's used books in my area, and they would have like whole series of Doctor Who, and I'd be like, but I've got it on streaming. I don't really have to get it right now. That's changed. But I also recommend if you want to be following along with us and you don't want to break the bank like all of the time, I would highly recommend jumping on to either Apple TV or as in like David's case, Amazon. They provide the seasons for $9.99 for the whole season, which really isn't that bad when you think about it. Now, mind you, when you get to like Chudi's run, I don't think I'd pay $10 because it's only a handful of episodes. But at the same time, like, for David Tennant's run, for the 11th run, the 12th run, those seasons are pretty filled. It's just New Who is a lot less number of episodes.
I think as you get newer though, because I have to look again, but I swear I think I saw on Amazon one of Jodie's seasons was like 38. So it doesn't stay $10 forever.
Right. Right.
And I mean, yeah, it physical media is cool, but if you're in a really boring part of Florida like me, there are no thrift stores. It's just
Yeah.
at home type stuff as far as the eye can see. So really, digital was my only choice to get this quickly.
Yeah. Which I do need to go. From what I understand, there is a store in Ohio that has lots of Doctor Who stuff, and I imagine they've got some of the seasons. I might take a road trip at some point to Ohio just to kind of check out and see what they got, because I heard there's a Doctor Who store there. So
Out of curiosity's sake, too, I mean, I know I've seen you can order from the Who shop in London. I don't know about tariffs and stuff now, but when I looked like prior to that, it seemed pretty reasonable to get stuff. But I'm not sure if they have DVDs or if they had a lot of memorabilia. But that's also worth checking out just for the sake of it.
and I do know that they do sell some seasons of Doctor Who at like Walmart.
Yeah.
You can find it there. Just be aware. It's usually just DVDs, and I personally would prefer Blu-ray at the least. Not that it improves the production quality or like the image quality, because these are like pre 2010 when everything was kind of still standard, like standard television. And so they're not going to be that much improved, but I just like, for longevity's sake, and DVDs are more easy to scratch and ruin. But yeah.
Mhm.
So we're talking about the 2 episodes. This is another foray with Mickey. This episode again gives no respect to Mickey at the beginning of the episode, where Rose and the Doctor are sitting in a chair, or like I guess like a booth or like a couch in the sense. And they're joking about something that they did off planet somewhere else with Mickey. And Mickey is sitting there holding a button on the console. And the doctor looks at him and is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm holding this button." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "Because you told me to." And he's like, "How long have you been doing that for?" He's like, 30 minutes. Like, "Okay, you can stop that now." And he's like, "When could I have stopped that?" He's like, "Oh, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes." And he's like, "Somebody, he said you hold this button the whole time." And of course, that's immediately when they drop out of the time vortex and they find themselves in this alternate reality of Earth. Just crazy, disrespectful to Mickey. I don't know. I feel like he deserved better. He absolutely deserved better, but he didn't get it. So
I as I watched these episodes, I remembered like the outcome kind of as I watched. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what happens, and they just kind of like neatly got rid of the necessary people so that others could take their place later. Like Mickey took the place of Ricky because Ricky died horribly on a fence, and it nicely rounded out Mickey's story. Was like, oh, he could spend time with his alternate grandmother that he didn't get to in his own universe. So that was an interesting, like, yeah.
And he also got to see what he could end up being. Like, there was an aspiration because Ricky was respected and Ricky was making a difference. And Mickey's like, "Well, I could do that. I
Also,
can live up to his name."
I never noticed this at all before, but and I'm not sure what the significance was of the license plate because they zoomed in on it at the end of the episode of that van. The van they were all using was blue. It was a blue van. And they mentioned going to Paris, like, what, just us two in a blue van? Yeah. And they drove off to Paris. But I was like, it's their own version of a TARDIS.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that. That's funny. It's like Mickey's taking what he learned. And again, regardless of whether they even disrespect him or not, people come changed by the Doctor. Unit I even identifies that later on, where it's like, you've spent time with the Doctor, you are more qualified than anybody else. And like, even like in newer episodes when they start negotiating salaries, you can tell, like, absolutely, these people that have been around with the Doctor, the sky's the limit for them. And they have, you know, experience with advanced technology that makes them completely indisposable. And I think that's cool. And even for Mickey and for his sake, even though, he was crapped on, he learned tools and he learned how to do certain things that he could be better off in the future.
Mickey and Rose, definitely. Rose just got like more and more hardened, and she knew like what to do, how the doctor would handle things, asking questions that she could fill in the doctor later. That kind of stuff has developed over the episodes.
Mhm.
There are certain people that go like another direction that Donna points out way later, where Martha Jones just becomes militarized, and
Mhm.
you know, there's that, but then it kind of evens out anyway.
I also kind of feel like Martha Jones going that direction was also out of spite for the
Mhm.
doctor, because that was such an unrequited like attraction with her, where he goes, "This doesn't mean anything," and he kisses her in that hospital. And at that moment, she was completely smitten with him. And you could tell, like, even how her family like dealt with her. It's like, this guy's no good for you. And it's very much of a relationship. He's a bad boy. He's not good for you. And then when she realizes he's not sticking around, that he's not going to, ever reciprocate that love. And that, I mean, it even gets to the point when you get down to the 12th, and with River Song, and how River comes to terms with how the doctor is, as the doctor has fallen in love with her and not realizing that he's right next to her.
Mhm.
Like, there's just this expectation of, you will love him, but it's like falling in love with the sun. It's like falling in love with the stars itself. You can't expect it ever to share those feelings, and
Mhm.
you wouldn't want it to, because that would mean it's even less than it like that concept. But for Martha, she was just kind of bitter.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that she ends up with Mickey. That's also kind of like a slap in the face, like with the doctor, because the doctor always, like teased Mickey and everything else. And she's like, well, he's good enough
Well,
for me, not you.
I mean, when you look at it from the outside, it's just like, oh, we don't know what to do with them. Let's put the two black people together, and then
That's another good point. Yeah. Yeah, but I think the only way that kind of made that work regardless was they were both kind of militarized before they ever got together.
Mhm.
And
They were
you had
both, yeah, they both had very similar directions in that
Mhm.
respect.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was always the plan, but at least they both had, like, it made sense in the sense of like where they were going, like fighting the fight and doing and going for the cause.
Mhm.
I would love to see them again in the future at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like it's possible, and we could definitely do that. Okay, so different universe, tons of Zeppelins. Pete is alive. Pete Tyler. Uh, Rose, of course, learned nothing from Father's Day and immediately wants to pursue her father again. Only this time she finds out that she's a dog in this planet.
Yeah, it was really funny when the doctor comes back and he's like, "What did I tell you, Mickey? I told her to keep an eye on her." And he's like, "What? She's a grown woman." It's like, "Yes, but she wanders off." And then they went two separate directions. Mickey's just messing with him, like, "Yeah, I know you're not going to follow me. Bye."
Yeah. Now, did you have any interaction with like any of the Doctor Who stories with the Cybermen before this, or are these Cybermen like your first introduction to them?
These Cybermen were my first. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I don't remember if I knew of them. I can't remember if I knew of them before or not. But like the guy who was the cyber, like I think as he was talking, it was like, oh yeah, yeah, this happened before. I remember from the head and the ninth doctor, it's like, oh, they're calling back to those guys.
Hmm.
But as far as that, the first doctor that I know of never saw the Cybermen.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, because I know, like, it says that the first interaction with them, I think it was like the Silver Age, or it was like something. Let's see here. Silver Nemesis in 1989 was the last appearance of the Cybermen. They definitely look different. This was a revamping of the design. Also a different origin for them. This is not the same Cybermen that the Doctor has dealt with in times past. It just
mhm.
happens that in every universe there's some variation of these creatures, which makes sense why there would be an advancement in their design. But also the Cybermen kind of are all about upgrading and evolution anyway. And so it would make sense that they would change over time. Whereas the Daleks from like Doctor Who season one, like old Doctor Who, look almost identical
Mhm.
with the exception of color to what we have now, because the Daleks I think were considered perfected creations.
Mhm.
And so there's not much when it comes to, because they were already like you have like the Daleks are basically the Nazis of space and time, I guess, because they're all about, you know, what was it, DNA purity. They are very much about one focus, and their whole goal is to exterminate everything that is not them. So that makes perfect sense.
The Daleks, as far as the first Doctor goes, that was probably my favorite arc of the first Doctor because I knew of the Daleks and I was like fascinated with the origin
Mhm.
of finding out about the Daleks. And there was one part where like one of them shot one of the companions, Ian. I think that this was who they shot, and he just fell over. Like, did they just kill a companion? Like and they're like, oh no, the blast wasn't powerful enough. He's just knocked out. I'm like, what? That's a thing. Um, so it was kind of like a gotcha in that moment. It was like, okay, Ian's not dead. He's just knocked out.
Yeah. So the premise is there is this billionaire or millionaire or whatever in like Switzerland who has created this first Cyberman. It goes against the, you know, like basically the Convention of Nations or whatever they called it. He now has to find some way to pursue. Mind you, he's just going to do it by force, which is always how every great advancement in history that benefits mankind ever happens. But it's also because this guy is old, he's sick, he needs to improve, but he's the last person who wants to become a Cyberman. He wants to be human as long as humanly possible before he does the transition. And I thought that was so hypocritical. He should be the first. If this is all about making it where he can live longer.
He should be the only one if that's the case. But
Exactly.
I like how like that guy who I'm just gonna call like evil Alfred because that guy reminded me of just Alfred, his
That's
second who was
Bruce.
helping him.
Yeah.
And what he did was actually like, I know exactly how to get back at you. And he just unplugged all of his life support, knowing that the Cybermen would be like, okay, now you need to be upgraded. He died in the process, but he kind of got one up on that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this also isn't an original story. It is taken place. It was inspired by Mark Platt's 2002 audio play called Spare Parts. Davies actually wanted it to be a two-parter, so he paid Mark Platt for this and gave him credit, which was like depicting like a dying world and then being all converted and everything else. It's not the first time that they've done that. I believe let me see if I remember. It was the Dalek episode. Yeah. So the series one's Dalek episode with the bunker and everything. That was took direct inspiration from Jubilee,
Hmm.
who was also paid for that. So the audio dramas, though they take place and in this universe, they also, I guess, can be pillaged to be used for, you know, for the actual TV series, because there, I guess it works because they also assume not everybody's going to consume every form of content. But if you like a specific Doctor, you should definitely go back and check those things out.
Doctor Who's media outside of TV is interesting because it's all canon until it's not.
Yeah.
So, like, if something in Doctor Who takes place in a comic and the show contradicts the comic, then the comic is no longer canon.
Even if you think about it, some of the episodes on the show are no longer canon when you think about like changing the universe and things being altered, because there will be moments where you'll be watching and you'll see, like, especially I would say in the 11th Doctor, like it'll go up to a certain point of something and Rory is gone.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't exist in time and space anymore. The Doctor remembers him, Amy doesn't, and then all of a sudden Rory then becomes one of the plastoids, and he's a Roman centurion that lives for thousands of years guarding the what was it called,
The Pandorica.
the Pandorica, with Amy inside. And then all of a sudden the rift ends up becoming like this big thing, and all of a sudden Rory and Amy are having a kid because he's no longer a plastoid anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he became a real boy.
Science fiction is great.
Yeah, because any little thing can, and again, that's the fun of it. If it makes too much sense, it drives me nuts, because it's like you're taking too much time to explain things. Just give us something, because a lot of times stuff that you don't explain in the future, you have aspirations, you can create those things. Like they didn't really go into, like, let's say Back to the Future, they didn't explain how hoverboards worked.
Mm-hmm.
Just that they didn't work over water. We've got hoverboards, it's not something that's readily available, and or it's something that is like usable everywhere. But like there are things that have been made that have been inspired by stuff that didn't have explanations, and we had to figure the science along the way.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting how Pete being successful and everything working in his universe led to the degradation of him and Jackie's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jackie is better poor than she is rich.
Well, it's like Rose was the glue, or would have been the glue had
True.
Pete lived.
True.
And it's it was the funniest moment was when you find out Rose is actually a dog, or was the name of their dog.
Yeah.
And the doctor just starts laughing on the side.
Oh yeah. And then also like the whole thing whereas like in Father's Day she is his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
Pete has this connection to her, and Jackie's like, what are you trying to do? Are you flirting with this girl? In this one she's not his daughter, because
Yeah.
Rose doesn't exist in this universe, and then having to explain that to him, and then them kind of being like like she doesn't like come right out and say anything about it. She just kind of like they're trying to figure things out, and she talks to Jackie and she's like, basically, know your place.
Oh, she is so much like, somehow she is so much worse. She's a snob. And it's like, oh, you're just the help. You're not getting paid. What? How dare you? It's like, that's so.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she like, for future events to happen, like Ricky and that Jackie perish, so that they could just kind of come together later, is like, oh well, here's the other Jackie, and everything fits into place well now.
Yeah. That's gotta be a weird relationship. Like I know, we spoilers if you haven't watched it, which you should be watching it if you're talking to us or just paying attention to us. When we get to the end of this season and Rose is left in this universe, it's gotta be weird for Pete. Like she's his daughter, but she's not his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She's like a stepdaughter, but she's also their daughter, and she shares their DNA, but then he only comes to her like fully grown, but like he takes care of her. It's very
I do
strange.
like how they explain it, where like he's just like just divulging all this stuff about his personal life, going, wait, why am I telling you? It feels right for some reason. And it's like, oh yeah, because you're blood related, sorta.
Kind of, maybe.
Yeah.
it's wibbly wobbly. That's the wibbly wobbly part. Okay, so the processing plants, these like sausage factories is basically like what I keep thinking of. It's like those were pretty intense. Like we see those mostly in the second episode, but we do get a little bit of it. The process that they do, and mind you, it's very CGI with the like the saws and stuff like that, is very. I was surprised they went that route. Like it's a little bit like triggering in a sense. Like they don't show anything, they don't show any blood, but it's still just as impactful.
When you hear the screams and stuff.
Yep.
But like they pan out, and you see all of like the pods and the plants, and it's like, wow, this is very. I mean, it was 2006 or so, so it's like, wow, this reminds me of the Star Wars prequels,
Yep.
how that CGI went down, and then all you see is like a buzzsaw and a laser for reasons, because that's how they're taking people apart, putting the brain in the Cybermen. And
Yeah.
I do like how it stays consistent with like how you defeat the Cybermen as you give them emotion.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that carries that comes back in 12 and probably others, but definitely 12, where it's like, I'm gonna make them feel, they're gonna go insane and blow up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of crazy when it was that simple, but then like there are all of these moments where they're having a difficulty with the Cybermen. What is it? Is it in this one? I think it's in this one where they're going I think it was the second episode where they're going through the tunnel,
Hmm.
and they're all of these like the deactivated Cybermen, and
Hmm.
then all the suits start going off and they're like running through the tunnel. Like that was like there was a lot of moments of suspense in this, in the sense of like let's go back to the first episode of the two. They're captured outside the party. Like everybody like is, if they're not compatible, they're killed. Um, we see them, like we see people like, getting obliterated and being herded in like cattle, and the doctor like voluntarily like surrenders himself to be processed.
Hmm.
And because he's not human, they're like, we're gonna, what was it they said, expire with extreme prejudice or something. Let's see, the line was perish under maximum deletion. It's like they have terrible phrasing. It's so funny.
It made me wonder, being like the multi fandom nerd that I am, when they started going delete, delete, delete. There's a wrestler named Matt Hardy, and
Okay.
Matt Hardy's gimmick in TNA, he just started like waving his hand, going delete, delete, and it's like, man, I wonder if he got that from this. It's very similar.
It's like they tried to give them like some type of like catchy thing, because like let's face it, exterminate is just,
Hmm.
it's perfect. It
Hmm.
works. It just works. But
Yeah, and this isn't the first, like Cybermen as a concept. Like there's the Borg, there's Terminator. Like it's the same kind of thing, but the message is always, you know, crystal clear about their intention.
oh yeah, the assimilation is a big deal. Um, okay, so Ricky is killed. Of course, I did like the interaction between Ricky and Mickey. Like that was a pretty good interaction between the two of them. Until of course, Ricky expired. Like, dude, climb the fence. Just climb the fence. But Mickey takes on. Jake hates him. Jake
Yeah.
is just, you're not Ricky. It's like, okay, but I can, I'll live up to his name. And like he earns the respect later on when they're fighting on that Zeppelin, trying to, stop or hack into the suit. And I love that moment when the creator ends up becoming assimilated. He's the leader of the Cybermen, and you have like the doctor. These are supposed to be super intelligent upgraded beings, and he's realizing that Mickey is watching on the camera, and just starts going into this whole spill of like, if someone were to go into such and such file and do such and such thing and such and such place and get the such and such code, this could happen. And of course Mickey's like right on it, and he's like doing his thing with the computers and gets him the code that he needs. But I like that a lot.
I'm gonna look up if there's a significance to that number code. Uh, let me see. Oh no, no, I
Yeah, I'm
can't see
not seeing
anything.
anything.
But what was I gonna say? Yeah. Oh yeah. I found it funny that scientist, when he was assimilated as like the cyber creator, cyber something,
Mhm.
he still had a giant chair. Like he didn't need a giant chair, but he had a giant chair.
It's because he's used to it. Like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like when we get to who was it? Was it the 12th? I think it
With
was the
the
12th when we were like back in like the 1800s. It was like the Victorian. That was no, that was with the 10th still, wasn't it? That was the season with the guy who had the doctor's memories, and
Yep.
yep, and she has that. They make that giant Cyberman like Zord, and like she's sitting in a chair too. Like she's like fused. It's almost as if they like have to like keep them bound or keep them combined for some reason.
Yeah, and again, they beat her by making her aware of her surroundings.
Yeah, it's a one trick pony, but it works.
Yeah.
It works. So yeah. They are able to get back. They have 5 minutes of power after the end of this to be able to get the TARDIS back into the time vortex, and get back to their universe. Mickey decides to stay back with his mother or his grandmother, which I thought was a good ending for him, even if they didn't bring him back. But of course, we will see him again in the future, a couple times, which I appreciate.
Yeah, he comes back like whenever they have to merge universes again, he comes through. That's the Dalek versus the Cybermen, and he's just there with the gun, like, hey, long time no see.
And he's extremely capable, and he's not a bumbling fool. So alternate universes can do wonders for you in certain circumstances.
Yeah,
So,
and you mentioned the 5 minute thing, and I'm in TV shows is always so funny. It's like we have 5 minutes. It takes them 10 minutes to say goodbye, or something. It definitely took them more than five.
oh yeah.
But just once, I would love to see like a bomb timer or something be an accurate amount of time.
Well, they did that in 24, didn't they?
I've never watched 24.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah. So the whole show for 24 takes place within like 24 hours, I guess, is the whole season. And so it's literally a ticking down of what's happening in those 24 hours.
Oh,
My wife was really big into it. I have anxiety about time, which is hilarious. I watch Doctor Who. But like anything that has like a countdown or anything just drives me nuts.
no,
So
same. I have like anything involving time travel because the implications of it could seriously mess up everything. So
yeah.
I typically have anxiety about that, but I've watched Doctor Who, I watch Back to the Future, but I think it's mainly because I already know what's going to happen. So I'm like, okay, yeah, they're
The
fine.
butterfly effect and the bootstrap paradoxes are like when I have been really sick and I've been hallucinating, it's usually about that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And it's also this is, I guess it's the religious trauma part of it, because I, growing up conservative, um someone was talking about, oh, what is the love of God? It's like a dove that takes a grain of sand and flies to a distant planet, and how long it would take for them to get there and then come back and get another grain. And that's just a drop of infinity. Like that kind of stuff freaked the crap out of me. Like that idea of like you have to hold your breath until like the sands are completely depleted and on the face of Mars. It's like that kind of thing. Like as a kid, that caused more panic attacks and stuff when I was sick than anything else. And so like time messes with me
Mhm.
big time. No pun intended. But yeah. So Doctor Who makes me feel a little bit better because normally the time, like it's like, oh, things can be fixed or things can be redone. You can't go back to certain things, but obviously we can make something work out. But yeah, I can't deal with the countdowns. Can't do it.
Media as a whole too that like kind of really challenges your perspective, like Men in Black, when
Yep.
like the end of it zooms out and aliens are playing with like marbles that are just our galaxy.
Yep.
And then when things zoom out, Earth is really like this big,
Yep.
little tiny thing. 'Cause
Or
yeah,
like
that's
that we're a locker in like an intergalactic train station.
yep, yep.
Yep. I hate that stuff. It's like, oh, I can't deal with it. I can't. No. Or it's like what was it? Horton Hears a Who as a kid.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope. That's fear inducing. Like people think, oh, that's great for kids. It sparks their imagination. No, it's childhood trauma. That's just all it is. Yeah. Yeah, so speaking of trauma, Rose sees her alternate mom is gone. which was like I was surprised they went that route, but then I also see where they were going in future episodes. Like they really didn't like spare much. Like there's a lot of people in a lot of places that are gone. And honestly, like thinking about it, in Doctor Who, there's a lot of dead people.
Yep.
A lot. I was watching anime last night. I was watching Kaiju number 8, and I was at one of the episodes where it's like there's like an entire like 4 or 5 miles of C block that just kind of implodes in on and of itself, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of dead people, and it's like you get desensitized by it.
You want to talk about an anime that does that? It's a very short one called Akame ga Kill.
Okay.
I loved it. It was entertaining, and minor spoilers for like the overall premise. If someone wants to go in blind, it was very entertaining, but you cannot have a favorite character.
That's terrible.
It's only like 24 episodes. I binged it in a weekend. And when I looked up the ending of the manga versus the ending of the anime, the ending of the manga is better, which is, I think, typically the case, but I'm not positive. It was a really entertaining like weekend to binge that. And it just, you cannot have a favorite character because somebody dies every single episode.
That's
every single one of them, somebody dies.
Yeah, see, that was like my thing with Jujutsu Kaisen. Like season 1, like you don't get attached to certain people because season 2. Oh man, that goes right to the heart. But yeah, like it's kind of wild. And then it's like also like I remember going and thinking like, what was it, Attack on Titan? Thinking, oh, these characters like they're gonna like overcome together. No, don't pick a favorite because either they're gonna be traumatized or they're the bad guys or they're dead.
Oh man, I forget her name, but that little girl with the rifle, I wanted to just I really wish that horse had eaten her. Because like there was a point where the horse like bit her head. It was like, yeah, eat her. That she's such a little shit.
Yeah. Man. Anything else you can think of with the episode?
The major standout was like I forgot how annoying Jackie was, and then Jackie was annoying in this episode. She's actually like regular Jackie is actually not bad.
She's not as annoying after you kind of realize,
I mean, there's a lot of times where Jackie has a point. Like, you're taking my daughter away to who knows what. I'm freaking out. But she also approaches it like really angry all the time.
I also thought it was funny because it's like there's that one conversation that she has with Rose. I think it's coming up. It's going to come up with Army of Ghosts, where there's this whole dialogue that she has where she's like, I can barely recognize you. What are you going to do? And she's like, I'm going to be with the doctor forever.
Mhm.
And she's like, what happens when I'm dead and gone? And you'll be this person. You won't be Rose anymore. What will you be? And it's like, you realize kind of where she is with Rose. At first you think she's opportunistic. Oh, we're going to sue the that mall because they blew up and Rose was a part of it. We're going to have a payday. And then later on, she's beyond that. It's more worrying about Rose and about what she's going to become because she sees it. She likes the doctor, but she also sees it as very dangerous for her daughter and that she's not going to recognize her one day.
Yeah, the doctor himself even says that. It was like, look, you can be with me for the rest of your life. I cannot be with you for the rest of mine.
Yep.
Like you're going to age, you're going to die. I am not.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, next episode is Johnny better be on here because this next episode is the episode that I have been talking about that he keeps not remembering, which is Idiot's Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
This is the episode where it's the coronation of the queen and the people are getting their faces sucked out by the televisions. And that's where the hungry, like just it's so annoying, but at the same time, it's a good episode.
I'm gonna wait for the rewatch to be absolutely certain. I know these two episodes were 10s for me. Like I loved this arc. Yeah. The next episode with the TVs and the missing faces, I hated it. I hated it so much.
I'm gonna admit I would say that, but I do find myself referencing it a lot for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. One of my favorite dialogues between the doctor and another person happens in the next episode, and it's the one where he's been taken by the police,
Mhm.
and they're questioning him, and through a series of statements, all of a sudden the police officer is sitting in the chair and he's standing up and he says the exact same thing to the cop, basically, tell me everything you know. And it's like he turned the tables to where now he's interrogating them, and I loved that moment.
I think I'm mixing up 2 episodes too, because I almost thought it was something, but I was thinking of the one where the girl was drawing stuff and, like, the
No,
drawings coming to life.
that's Fear Her. I hate that episode.
Yeah,
That's the Olympics episode. I can't stand that episode.
okay, 'cause then I'm only remembering half of both because I'm mixing them both together, and I
Yeah.
just thought of when Rose opens the garage door and the squiggle comes flying out, I just thought of, Doodle Bob from SpongeBob going, "Me-hoy, me-noy."
No, that's that one. Okay, so after this week's episodes we just talked about, it's Idiot's Lantern, Impossible Planet, Satan Pit, which we'll do those together. It's 8 and
Mhm.
9 because there are 2 parts. Love and Monsters, which is one that I have a love-hate relationship with. And then Fear Her is that one. And Fear Her happens right before Army of Ghosts when we get to the
Mhm.
finale. Which is Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. So we're gonna actually get through pretty quick because we not only these 2 episodes that we do together in one, but then Impossible Planet and Satan Pit, and then Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. So that's most of season 2 in a nutshell, and then we'll end with Runaway Bride before we get into season 3 officially. So, and then we get, and I have to kind of muscle through Martha Jones because at some points I get tired of her. So, just my own perception.
Yeah.
Because you've got the what is it, the Jadoon on the moon, the
That
Jadoon
was
platoon on the moon.
I think that was a great start, like a great season opener.
Mhm.
And I think once the doctor stops taking um taking Martha on like a Rose Tyler tour,
Yeah,
then it gets a lot better.
agreed. Yeah, like he's dealing with his trauma, but he's not really opening up much about it. So,
Mhm.
but I do look forward to Shakespeare again. Like I just watched
Yeah.
that a couple weeks ago, so I'm like ready to watch it again. So, but yeah, David, tell me where we can find you.
I am Xanatos1138 on all social medias, mostly TikTok, but you'll see me in comment sections of Instagram and other places probably.
And you can also find me at Mr. Marvelite whenever I decide to post, if I decide to post, mostly on TikTok because I don't really do the other socials well. You can find us on itsfanbox.com, also fanboxnetwork.com, along with our other episodes. We'll be doing this next week, talking about Idiot's Lantern. Hopefully Johnny will be on because otherwise I'm going to be really angry at him because we have been working up to this episode for no other reason. I'm not saying it's a great episode other than the fact that I've been talking about it and he doesn't remember it. So it's important. But before we do go, I did realize we didn't actually give our scores. You said yours were 10s.
Yep.
I would say mine were probably 10s as well. This is one of those episodes where I feel like it's like quintessential Doctor Who. I did have to watch it in pieces with my son because the moment he saw the first person converted to Cybermen, he's like, "Dad, can we stop for a minute?" And we had to give him a break for a little bit because that was pretty traumatic, which I think worked out great. It's a great dad moment when you traumatize your kid. But next week we'll be talking about Idiot's Lantern. And since I know Johnny's not watching, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. Hold on, let me just double check the comics, just make sure it wasn't. Okay, yes. So we're not gonna do the Dugadoo ending. We're waiting for Johnny because Johnny has a little problem with people like mocking Hawkgirl's screaming. And so David asked us to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a hint of it, and then I'm going to come back to this one to close out because it takes a while, and I don't want to have to hear this the whole time over and over again. So, so this would be us signing off with Johnny, and you'll hear him freaking out hopefully in the future.